Nexxlegacy.
All right, we'll get it started right here. This is Charles. I am Brandon Madison of Nexxlegacy Radio, and I have a beautiful guest that once I got a chance to listen to a track or two from this young lady, I was like, ooh, I got to have her on. I got to have her talk about not just the music, but also her business and also all things that she's up to. And I need everybody out there who are mass supporters of music. I don't care what genre of music you are. I need y'all to go check her out. You go find her on social media. Jourdan, Jourdan Jade. You can hit her up. And actually just Linktree it. Linktree/Jourdan Jade links. I have my girl, Jourdan Jade, in the house. Nexxlegacy. What's up, girl? What's up?
What's happening? How
You
you doing?
All you. So first off, Jourdan, I want to thank you for taking the time out to hang out with me, and
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate just the grind that you on right now. So before we get into all the particulars of everything you got going on right now, let's go backwards. Let's talk about how you got started doing music and how it's so heavily influential in your career thus far.
Right. So I grew up in Vallejo. So it was always a big part of the culture. You know, I grew up on Mac Dre, E40, all hip hop. Everyone was a rapper. So I've always had a passion for music and loved it, love old school, everything. So it's always just been in me that I love music of all kinds. And actually, when I was in college, I got really a little more into music. I had a boyfriend the whole time I was in college, all 4 years, and he was in a hip hop group. So I was always in the studio and, you know, at their shows, backstage, on stage, dancing, you know, meeting everyone they're opening for. And I was just like, man, this is the shit to me, you know, like I love this. This is what I want to do. So, you know, just kind of fell in love with that whole side of it. And just thought it was amazing. And that's when I kind of just started to learn a little bit about production, just being in the studio, like, oh, what does this do? How do you do this? How do you record? Whatever. And got pretty into it. And then my boyfriend was actually, unfortunately, tragically murdered. So that kind of got me off of music for a while. I was like, you know, look, I don't want to be in a studio. You feel me? So was off it for a really long time. Didn't get back into it as far as like creating anything or trying to learn music creation. And then I fast forward a few years. I was working at Apple, actually, like their corporate offices in Silicon Valley, and met some audio engineers there, one in particular, Pocket Honore, who motivated me and inspired me to get back into music and, you know, said he would teach me, you know, set me up on Logic and how to make beats and record. And so I felt supported enough to get back into it and actually do it myself and start creating. And, you know, my boyfriend passing, his legacy of music, at first, you know, I don't want to listen to his music. It was, of course, super sad. But, you know, eventually once I was healed, it was part of his legacy, and I love listening to music, and it takes me back to like his energy and his spirit and just that moment. So I wanted to have something that I created artistically that I could pass on too, where after, you know, I pass, it's like, oh, this is hella Jourdan, like this was hella her. It's like, oh, this reminds me of her. And that's with any, you know, artistic endeavor. If you paint pictures, you know, then that's part of your legacy too. You know, it's something you create, one of your creations that you can pass on, and it'll always be just part of your energy that you could share with people. So that's kind of the deeper reason for me getting into music. But, you know, I definitely needed a creative outlet, and it is definitely something that I consider to be therapeutic. Making music, writing music, just recording, performing, the whole process is definitely pretty therapeutic, if that's your intention.
You talking about how I'm talking, because, I mean, first off, you know, condolences, and I know it's been a minute of the passing of your boyfriend like that, but you know, that's always going to hold you for a long time. Deeper than that, though, you know, I just see, I can feel it, like your energy. It's on your music, like, you know, and that's what grabbed me to not just reaching out, but just, you know, catching the vibe, because I see your social media, I see your, you know, you on stage, and I see how electric you can be and how you get the crowd engaged. And, you know, I always feel like that's missing, but to stay on course as far as what got you doing music, was it a specific song you heard that triggered you, or just the experience of just being in the studio with him and with them and creating that process? Because it sounds like
it was really just always being on stage. I'm like I said, I've always been a music lover, so I've always go to live shows on stage and, you know, just have a music network from being in the Bay. So I'd always end up, you know, backstage or on stage, and I just loved it. Like, I was like, this is like, it's so fun to me. It's just where I want to be. I love being on stage. I love performing, just dancing, like just sharing your energy. It's just hella fun. So, you know, as far as a creative outlet for me, that's something I always wanted to do. I think I just never really had like the confidence or felt supported enough to actually do it until, like I said, you know, Apple and meeting Pocket. So yeah. Kind of like, suck it. Now or never at this point. This is something I really want to do. So, you know, but now or never. Yeah.
And sometimes it might take one person, one moment, one situation to get to kickstart something that's been in you for a long ass time. And I always look at it like this. Like, I always feel like this. And you know this. You in the business. So people help people. And I feel like if you do it in a genuine, authentic way, and you really could, like, you know what, let me spotlight this artist, because this artist has it. And when I say it, I'm not saying like, you know, you're going to be the next whoever. You're going to be yourself. And how you do this shit is going to be super important on how you carry it later for other people to be able to feel it, be inspired by it and stuff like that. And that's the only way you can live when you create stuff, right? Is just do it and do it authentically.
Right, yeah, like everything else in life. So, yeah, I mean, now it's something that I'm really, you know, making a career. Obviously, you know, we want to monetize the things we love, because that's so it makes it sustainable. But, yeah, there's definitely, you know, a deeper level of fulfillment for me as far as making music and, you know, just expressing yourself in a creative way. It's really dope.
So you talked about the journey. You talked about who got you back in the game, and how's the game been to you so far? Not just the monetized scenarios and stuff. It's a crowded arena in hip hop and music. Period.
It's a journey and a roller coaster of emotions, for sure. It's been a big learning curve for me, because I feel like a lot of people who do music kind of start out with a mentor or someone in their family, or, you know, their dad or their mom or their uncle or their cousin is a rapper, or, you know, just someone to kind of like put them on a bit of a certain way. And I felt like I didn't have that. So like I took a lot of losses in the beginning, just as learning lessons, just not knowing, like, you know, I've cashed out for a music video that I never got back. You know, overpaid for other shit, just dumb shit, because I just didn't know any better. So, you know, just kind of learning, making mistakes, learning as you go. And then also, like, on the production side, so my first EP, I co-produced all the beats. I recorded myself in my house, and, you know, I'd never taken prior vocal lessons. So it's like, I was just kind of self-conscious about my voice, and added, you know, auto-tune and effects and kind of over-affected it. So I love all my, you know, initial songs, but I definitely would have mixed them differently and not have put as much effect and tune and verb and all that on it. So, you know, it's been a lot of learning. Like, I record at a professional studio, not my house, but I've learned so much, and I love learning. I'm a student of life. Like, that's all I want to do is learn. So that's the dope part too, is just learning, getting better, developing, and feeling more comfortable in how you express yourself and doing it. And, you know, getting better shows. Like, I love performing, and now I'm doing music festivals, which is hella dope, performing with people that, you know, I grew up listening to. And that's also like what brings it kind of full circle too, is there's a bunch of artists that I grew up listening to and, you know, looking up to, and now they're telling me my shit's dope. Like, that's definitely a good feeling. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if you get Be Legit and some of the people, and the moment he told me he was out in Vallejo, you know, connected, you know, someone to Be Legit, E40. I mean, that click's been not just on my shows for hella years, but, you know, like you, influential. And for them to, you know, co-sign you, and just, you know, off conversations that I have, like, I mean, a lot of people see you, which is great. And I think that's really the hustle of who you want to be, right? Like, you're going to be Jourdan Jade, and you're going to do it your way, like I said, but you're going to capture the imagination of someone that's been in the game, like a Be Legit or an E40 and, you know, and stuff like that for a while. And doesn't it feel good to know that, you know what, I don't have to copy off nobody so I could make my name. My name is who I am and how I go about it, and it's a beautiful thing, right?
Yeah, thank you. Definitely. Yeah, and that's another thing that feels good too. Is a lot of people are like, you don't sound like anyone else. Like I can't really compare you to anyone. It's kind of like your own sound, which I'm like, yeah, that's the point. But like, thank you. I'm glad. I'm glad it's recognized.
Straight up. And I think that's real. Like, I mean, listen to your tracks, and I heard, like I said, I mean, you're great to look at, but deeper than that, I feel like you got something to say to somebody, and it's not just keeping it to yourself. And anytime you do music, you're giving a piece of yourself to the world, which is already, a grind, but also it's appreciative. And, when I heard you, I was like, cool. She don't sound like Nicki Minaj or Lil' Kim or whatever. Like, you don't sound like somebody else. And that's what grabbed me onto who you are and what you're trying to do for yourself, too, which is great. Because this game, again, like I said, it's crowded. There's hella people there. And there's hella people trying to sound like, let's just keep it true, too. There's hella people trying to sound like hella people. But how you going to win is how you proceed to do what you are put on this earth to do, which I feel like you got music in your system, and you gotta rock that out for people. So, with these singles that you have out, and a lot of people can go, make sure y'all go grab it, and it's all part of her link tree. Jourdan Jade Links is what it is, and she is my guest on Nexxlegacy Radio. People can go tap in, and not just the people in your circle, but strangers. Have you got a lot of response to a lot of people hitting you up, and what has that response been?
Oh, hell yeah. I get the dopest thing for me. I mean, I get people that hit me up on social media all the time. It's really cool. It's extra cool when it's international. That's extra cool. Yeah. But it's also cool I love it in person. Like I performed at this music festival a couple weeks ago, and people were coming up to me and they're like, "Are you Jourdan Jade? I love your music." And that is like a super rewarding feeling. Not, it's not about like the popularity. You're like, oh yeah, people know my name. It's like, you listen to my music, like, so I love it. And also, I do get, there's of course hate messages too, there's a yin and yang to everything, but I do get some really like thoughtful messages of people saying I inspire them or motivate them. And that's kind of always my main goal and intention. And so that's like something that's really fulfilling and rewarding and makes me feel good, and just makes me keep going.
Girl, they just say that because you from the Bay. You got a certain style to your flow, right? Like a lot of people,
Thank you.
You start talking shit,
and it's on the business side too. Yeah. It's on the business side too, because a lot of my supporters are in the cannabis industry, because that's been my lane. Because I'm a cannabis entrepreneur. I've been in the industry for a long time. I've grown weed, sold weed, worked with portfolio brands over the last decade. So I do have a lot of really strong supporters in the cannabis industry that I super appreciate. And that's kind of what put me on so far is, I got to perform at these events. A lot of people ask, because, I do everything independently, self-funded. I don't have a manager or anything like that. And people ask, like, how do you get these shows? How do you get these big shows and open for these people? And I'm like, because they're cannabis events. And that's,
Right on.
Yeah, so,
hey, because,
shout out to the
Jourdan,
smokers, you feel me?
A lot of people out there is definitely like, I can't get a gig because, I got talent, I could do X, Y, Z.
Well, and, hey, what I tell people, too, when they're like, hey, how'd you get this gig? I'm like, check it out. I did free shows for a whole year, paid all my costs, traveled everywhere, went everywhere, didn't matter, paid for dancers, everything out of pocket, did hella free shows, and then showed people I could perform and bring a crowd. And then they said, oh, when they asked me to come back, I'd ask for compensation. They're like, oh, so can you put me on? Like, nah, bro, I'm saying put yourself on, but okay.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's the thing. I think a lot of people aren't down for free work, but I mean, I work. That's what I do and what I've done my whole life. I've always had like a corporate job and trapped and everything. I had side jobs, side hustles, done internships, unpaid. So for me, it's like, if you really want to make something happen, just do some fucking free work. And then that might do, bring another opportunity. But, people aren't.
There you go. And that's the only way you got to do it when you start off. Sometimes you can't come out the womb just expecting that you want 6 figures to a show that nobody don't even know who the hell you are, right? So that's going to take a minute in order for that to progress, so you can be able to do what you do. Now, with these singles that you have out,
I ain't doing free shows anymore, for the record. And
hey, there you go. Hey, you paid your dues, though. You paid your dues.
Yeah.
You paid your dues, though. You definitely did.
As we all need to.
Singles, right, yes. And these singles that you got out, and visuals, videos, all that stuff or whatnot, I mean, clearly you're working your ass off to be able to put it in. So who does the treatment for a lot of these videos? Is it you? Or a team, or what's up with that?
The videos, I've come up with most of the concepts. My last video for Go BB is a super dope video. I loved it. I actually performed at a cannabis event. It was at this space in LA called the Pink Garden. So the house is decorated all pink, all girly, all floral. So I performed there, and I was the headliner. And then I was like, hey, this place is dope. Like, can I come back in the morning and shoot a video here? And so that's how it was kind of on the fly, and it looked very like pre-arranged. So that was dope. Check that one out. But a couple that does cannabis events actually hooked me up with that video, and they did the treatment, and they were amazing. So big shout out to Stoner Shenanigans and California Clouds. They hooked me up. My other videos, my homie Aaron B Productions does. He's an amazing videographer and photographer. He's done like a lot of my video recaps and my first music videos. So he's super dope. You got to check him out.
So listen, I gotta ask you a real question, because there's a lot of people out there who will be checking you out, and they're like, wow, she's doing no. I don't know how she's doing all this, because I can't get, like we mentioned earlier, like I can't even get a break when it comes to that. Like, I hear you when you talk, and you're just like, hey, I could use this place for a video. Let me go ask so-and-so. So a lot of people are actually not, or people are, I guess you could say they're not really trying to go push. So there's a lot of lazy people out there.
Then you don't want it. Then you don't want it. You got to want it to get it. That's how I feel about it. If you want it, you'll put in the work and make it happen. And if you don't, then you'll be lazy and make an excuse. So that's all that is. I shot a music video last night. I shot a saucy-ass music video last night. Matter of fact, it's a song called Queen of the Bay. It's not out yet. It's going to be on a compilation album that's dropping next week. My homie, Andre Lewis, he goes by the host with the most on Instagram. I don't know. Do you know who Herm Lewis is? He kind of started the RBL Posse. Yeah, it's Herm Lewis's son. Yeah, that's the homie. That's my fam. Yeah, so him and his videographer shot. So he made this compilation album. My song Queen of the Bay is on it. We shot a music video last night in San Francisco for it. So that's
I bet
dropping soon. Check that.
For a few more conversations, we gonna probably have mutual acquaintance.
Yeah, hey, I think didn't he like put together RBL? Black Sea, that's another OG I looked up to, love his music, who just I saw him a couple weeks ago, and I was like, right, we got to get a song. And he was like, let's do it. So
hey, and the one thing about Black Sea, shout out to Black Sea. One thing about him is he'll turn a verse over super quick. Like he'll get it done like within that day, if not sooner.
Nice. Yeah, so I need to get one in with him for sure. Actually, we're both performing at the same show next Thursday in LA.
Oh, okay.
Too. I just realized that.
That's what it is. Jourdan Jade is my guest on Nexxlegacy Radio. Listen, if I could tell you like 5 years from now what would be like how your career plan would be planned out, but you mentioned earlier about being a cannabis entrepreneur, and tell people a little bit about that before I go back into music, because I feel like people got to understand that you are not just your own boss as far as music, but you also own a business too. So talk about that.
Yeah, so like I said, I've been in cannabis forever. I've grown forever. I've just, gotten into sales when I was in high school. Always been an advocate. And I've worked in dispensaries, before legalization. So, been in every side of the industry. And I own a hemp CBD skincare brand called Jade Healing Co. And I'm launching a THC brand called Jourdan Jade Flowers. So that'll be a legal brand in dispensaries. It's going to be pre-rolls and eights. And, I've done sales, marketing, consulting, brand ambassador work for a variety of brands, tons of brands. So kind of been in every side of the industry, basically.
Hey, that's what's up though, because I mean, I always feel like this. Like you always have to have one foot in a couple of other different things as far as what you're trying to do as well. Like to me, I always feel like that's always great. I love how you've connected it to music and what you want to do and shows and performing and stuff like that. I mean, you kind of intertwine both your passions, I guess, in a sense, right?
Yeah, definitely. For sure. Yeah, another thing that I think in cannabis is I also did public speaking years ago, like cannabis advocacy. This was a long time ago. It's a whole other thing. But I used to do pharmaceutical sales. I did pharma sales for 6 years, and then realized that big pharma is kind of evil, some of it. And started speaking, and left big pharma and started speaking against it, kind of anti-big pharma, pro plant medicine, cannabis, and psilocybin therapy. So yeah, very, very big advocate of plant medicine in all forms, you know, not just cannabis. So just want to add that.
Straight up. Jourdan Jade, my guest, Nexxlegacy Radio. I saw that you put R&B, pop, hip-hop. I mean, I kind of feel like you're intertwined.
Multi-genre.
Do you feel like that's just your label or the label that you put your music in? Because I feel like you're more international than anything. And you know how international people grab on the you know, hip hop and R&B and all that shit too. But I always feel like you're just for the people. Like like you're just
Thank you. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I just have that on my Instagram, so people, if you don't know, when you go to my page, it's like, what the fuck is this girl doing? Oh, okay, R&B, pop, hip hop, pretty much. You know, you know, like, okay, you know what it is when you get on the page. But right. No, I feel the same way too, and I do want to be more international, and you know, I travel internationally very often. I've done shows internationally. I'm performing in Colombia in February. Probably perform in France again sometime next year. I actually just did a collab with a French rapper. That just dropped a few weeks ago. That song's super dope. I'll have to send it to you.
Okay.
So yeah, no, I want to, you know, that's definitely the higher goal is be international. I would love to perform internationally, and you know, that's definitely what I'm trying to do.
Well, I feel like you're gonna step in it right there, because I mean, not just having a rotation on Nexxlegacy Radio, which has an international base of fans. I think it's just important for, you know, word to get around as far as music and stuff like that. But how has the game been as far as marketing music? Do you find it more challenging now, or do you find like, oh, I can still get it out there because of social media, but there's still a need for it in radio, like radio plays and exposure, shit like that, right?
Yeah. So yes and no. So I mean, yes, we all, of course. Radio plays all of it. But the thing with that, for me, like I said, I'm an totally independent, self-funded artist. So for me, what I've realized is a lot of radio is pay to play. And for me, I just don't have that type of budget. And so as far as marketing goes, the thing with music landscape today that I am realizing and learning as I go is, you know, with social media and TikTok and these huge things, it's easier for people to be discovered and go viral and be found and get new listeners, but there's also much more competition. A lot of it, you know, if you do have a budget, you can, you know, circumvent a lot of shit. But it's also the industry is starting to be that it's not really about talent, it's about popularity. So, you know, it's kind of like there's a lot of dumb shit and just hoe shit and just outrageous shit that's just super popular and viral, and it's what people are paying attention to and putting in energy into just because it's uber popular and viral. And, you know, so, you know, you have that to compete with now too, and just the over-sensationalism, over-sexualization of everything. So, you know, it's just kind of...
No, I feel it. I'm with you, because listen, over-sexualized is definitely on point. I mean, I love the look and everything else that comes with a beautiful woman, but goddamn, like, you know, how many songs are you gonna have, or how many things you? I mean, hold a little something else extra. Like, to me, I always just put it all out there. Like
Man, I mean, you know, everyone, you know, sex appeal is great, but yeah, I feel like a lot of the female hip hop music out right now is just like some real hoe shit. It's just all like
basic, right? But check it out. And you said something that's important earlier about pay for play, and I'm just letting you and the listeners know, especially you, as you're getting to know me, like, you're on rotation on this station, and you don't have to pay nothing for that. And the reason
Thank you. No, and I've got another radio play, you know, and I don't really do the pay play. And so, you know, but it's so like, you know, seems to be pretty pervasive in just what it is.
But it's
right
important. Now. It's important for people to really realize that you're right. Like I can go, like, you know, I have a, you know, mainstream office, and that mainstream office has a radio station, like an FM station, and you hear the same shit like at least 20 times during the course of a day, right? Like, good Lord, what the fuck? But it, to me, was lacking its variety when it comes to that, and they're trying to, you know, hold on to their money, which is fine. They're doing what they got to do, but it's still dumbing down the industry because you're not getting people out there like yourself and others who have gifts that needs to be aired out in the world, right? So that's what I mean when I say this station, and I'm sure there's other ones. The more we link up, that I don't allow that. Like if your music's hot, we gonna run it, and to me. If it's not, then we ain't.
Hell yeah.
That's hella important, though. That's important. Like in the industry that you've been in right now, is definitely you know, backlog of people. But who are some of the influences that you see in this business right now that you respect?
I mean, so my favorite artist of all time, I'm just going to start off. Like I said earlier, I grew up on Mac Dre, so Mac Dre influenced every part of my life. Mac Dre and E40 off top, like, you know, that was it for me. But right now, I love Larry June. I'm super on Larry June shit. Shit, I'm still like a Bay head. So I listen to all music, but I definitely am listening to like Bay shit more than anything. So,
how do you feel about Bay Area music nowadays versus 15, 20, 25 years ago?
I mean, shit, the Bay is still slapping no matter what. Like, there's always gonna be slaps, but I mean, nothing beats, like, for me, I think just growing up in it, like like I still love hyphy sound, hyphy music, all that shit. But you know, I'm in Vallejo, so I literally. That, like, people always make fun of people who say that we're all, like, stuck in, like, 2005 and still living in the hypey music. And I'm like, so what? That shit still slaps and make me happy and hypey, so whatever.
Yeah, right. Nah, I feel you. I feel like this. I mean, we can always go back to these moments, like, you know, classic, you know, days. You know, I'm going back in the 80s, 90s when Too Short was still selling this shit in the trunk of his car. And he used to drive down a few selling this shit, and it was just a movement. It was so dope to see the birth of it, right? And
shout out to homie Short. I've done a show with him too.
And I think it's important for people to realize, like, you know, if it wasn't for those moments back then, we wouldn't get these moments that we have now. I feel like we still need, like, George, you gotta think about it though. A lot of people from like different parts of the, you know, that's not in the Bay, took that Bay sound and ran with it elsewhere. So everybody trying to sound like they from the Bay, but that's just my opinion. I'm just saying they took that sound and
it's also like a Bay bias that we think everyone took everything from us. But so I'm like, yeah, they did though. But well, I feel like you know, people say Detroit music is the Bay's cousin, so that's like a very similar sound as far as hip hop.
Yeah, I guess you. Yeah, you see about right.
You know, people say the South has stolen certain shit. You know.
Yeah, I say you can say stolen, or you can just say they just took our sound. Just like, you know, a lot of people took that Chronic sound that Dre had.
Emulated it.
You know, a lot of people did that shit, but I feel like there's always room for more growth when it comes to, like, you know, Bay artists taking it up a level, and this is where you come in, which I feel like is important. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, so on the note of I'm a hyphy head, is when I first started dropping music, that's what people thought I was going to be doing, hyphy, slapping, and rapping, and then I dropped this, like, vibey, like, lo-fi music, and they were like, wait a minute, what the fuck? But see, this is the thing. So like I said, I'm in cannabis, so I wanted to make just cool, like, chill, smoky music that you could just chill, like some lo-fi shit that you could just smoke to. That's cool. And so that was my first few songs, and then I started performing, and then I was like, this shit's hella slow. Like, I want people to dance and move when I'm performing. You know what I mean? Like, I either got to, like, speed up the BPMs or something. So I started doing, every song started kind of getting a little more up-tempo. And then people kept being like, why don't you rap? Like, you're such like a hip hop head. Why don't you rap? Just do it. Yeah. So I kind of went, it was just like, all right, I'm going to do it. And then I was like, what? I was like, and I did it. This is kind of easy. I did a hell of singing. Like, you got to re-record it. Can't smoke before you record. Like, do the harmonies, re-record this, another track. Right. With rap, you just go in and do it one take all the way through. All right, that's cool. Do the ad-libs. All right, that's the song. So I'm not saying I like rapping either, because the process is faster, but it does like kind of make it, I don't know, just a different process.
Yeah, I feel it. Jourdan Jade's my guest on Nexxlegacy Radio, and you know, I'm gonna ask a couple of more random questions. One of the random questions is, if you had, this is gonna be, I don't know, you might think this is a weird one, but if you had if you was on I'm gonna do this on an island thing. You only had one opportunity to be able to slap, you know, something on a drive that you can listen to on an island, one artist. I'll just go 3. Give me 3 artists you would listen to besides yourself. If there's three artists that you could be able to listen to if you actually on an island by yourself, and they only gave you like the MP3s to like these artists, who would they be?
I mean, it's probably the 3 artists that I've said like 10 times on this. You're probably like, all right, you gotta listen to someone else, bruh. You can't listen to all that throwback shit. But shit, Mac Dre, sorry y'all. E40, I'm sorry y'all, okay. And Larry June.
All right.
Shit.
Those are the 3. Throughout the show,
if it could only be one, Larry, and Larry.
Yeah, I got you.
The show, Uncle Larry.
All right, listen. All right, next one is, all right, if you had one decade, what's your best decade in music? I'm talking about everything. You bottle it up, put in this decade is the decade.
Man, that's a big tie between 70s and 80s. Shit. 70s or 80s, bro. Which one would you say, 70s or 80s?
I love you for saying 80s for this reason. I love the 80s because you had so much diversity in the shit. You had the not resurgence, but you had the birth really of hip hop. I know it was late 70s, 80s, but
I've been realizing there's a lot of songs that I thought were 80s that are actually 70s lately. So I've been like, I might have to go with 70s, but then I'm like, nah, the 80s is like, yeah.
But what's crazy, Jourdan Jade, is this: a lot of those classic songs came in the late part of the 70s too. Like, you hear some shit and you're like, what the fuck? That's got to be 80s, right? But nah, some of them singles came out like in 78, 79 or whatever, right? So, you know, it's crazy, but I fucks with it because you got to think about it. Every genre of music was winning as well in the 80s. And then you can't fuck with these music soundtracks, Jourdan Jade. Come on now. A lot of these were attached to some of the dopest music. A lot of these movies were attached to it. You can't lie to that, though.
Fact. Now I'm thinking back to the last question. Like, I'm gonna be on this island by myself, just going dumb, like getting hella hypey. Like, I might have to swap E40 for like Chris Brown or something, just to balance it out. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Can't just be turned all damn day.
Listen, y'all, she gonna have Jourdan Jade's gonna be on the island by herself, just trying to figure shit out.
Tell me what I got. Like, the fuck? Let me swap for R&B singer or some shit.
But you feel what I'm saying about the 80s soundtracks? You can't you can't soundtracks. But you got to get to the 70s though. 70s soundtracks was nice. Like,
all right, so tie is the answer to that question.
I mean, I'm still rock these though, because you know I could just go off of Goonies soundtrack. You can go off Lost Boys soundtrack. You can go off of Beverly Hills Cop soundtrack. You can go off of hella shit. Like the 80s movies won too, but the music made the movies, in my opinion. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Just saying.
I love how 70s and 80s songs were mostly about like love and like being in love and all this happy shit and walking on sunshine and all this shit. And now, now songs are all like fuck a bitch, kill her, like, what? You ever listen to old music and be like, damn, they were hella happy, bruh. You were better times.
Hey, listen, sex was sale. Everybody was free. You can do whatever. You can do whatever. It was just all good. Now it's anxiety when you start talking about relationships and shit. Like, what the fuck? Like, where did it go? Where did it go then? Since we gonna put it out there.
What happened to the world?
What happened? What happened then? Do you know? Can you give us your expert opinion on what happened to love in the 2023s and the last maybe 20 years? What happened to love, Jourdan?
It's just society and American culture fucking shit up. Fucking up traditions, values, morals, making everything hella faulty and bunk and weird, and that's it. No one honors anything anymore. It's just all fuck around.
Do you feel like it's coming? Hey, do you feel like it's, just easy to get now? Love or fake love is easy to get. It's so easy to be fake love, bro. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a big thing. I mean, it's always been a thing, but yeah.
Yep.
Technological advances make it easier to be sneakier. Basically.
There you go. Hey. What does the future hold for Jourdan Jade? What would you like to see yourself do and or be in the next 5 to 10 years? And I'm not talking about just because I feel like the financial growth is going to come because you're going to work with the right people, get with the right situations, and make your brand grow. But what do you want to see yourself do and be in the next 5 to 10 years?
Well, so the biggest goal for me, on your point of the money will come, I really want to grow and get bigger and monetize things on a bigger level and get doper opportunities so that I can turn back to the people that supported me and my team and provide that back to them. That's kind of like the biggest thing that means the most to me. It's not like, I want to make 100 racks, just to have, I want to be able to go turn around and cash out the people that are supporting me freely, showing me love, rocking with me, because that's just very much appreciated. And it's just, I don't really have the budget to do that right now. So that's what I would really want to do. But like I said, international shows, just, expand opportunities. I want to do arena shows for show. I love performing, the bigger the better. Just bigger crowds, bigger shows, different countries, and more money for my folks and family, and, to pay it back to the people I love.
I like the fact that you on that pay it forward kind of mentality when it comes to that, because I always feel like this. If you set yourself up in a certain way where you can be able to give back or find a way to give back to others and do it in a way where it's going to, not just because, you can always be like, hey, you know what, because I have it, I'm going to let you borrow $5,000. Not borrow, but I'm going to give you $5,000. Nah, it's cool to give, but also I'm going to lead you to the point where you can be able to not just give $5,000, you can make more than that. So you can probably make $25,000 if you do blah, blah, blah. I always feel like if you pay it forward with not just giving somebody the opportunity, but also paying it forward where I can show you where the rest of the money can go, I mean, that's a plus. To me, I think you can't really go wrong when you do shit like that because, I feel like setting someone up for success is not about giving you something. It's about leading you to a place where you can be able to this is where I can be able to eat, but not just for the day. I can eat for the next 5, 10, 20 years based on this. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's a plus, right?
Right. Hell yeah.
That's where we going. Jourdan Jade, if you could give some shout out to some folks, tell people once again where to go social media wise, and you know what I'm saying, say what you gotta say for now, tell people where they can find you.
Hell yeah, check me out, your girl Jourdan Jade. Check me out on Instagram, of course. Like I said, don't forget the U. JOURDAN JADE. I'm on every music streaming platform, Spotify, Apple, Pandora, Amazon, all the shit, YouTube, Jourdan Jade. Check for my new music video that's about to drop. Check out that Go BB music video we're just talking about. Check out for my French collab. Just dropped a song 2 days ago called Love Won't Change. So check out that song. Got more songs on the way. Got shows. I'm performing in Vegas next Wednesday. in LA next Thursday, in Maui on the 9th. So check me out. I'm all over.
You moving. I love it. And
I didn't know if you meant shout out other people or not, but one person I do just want to shout out real quick is my audio engineer for show. Like I said, I recorded a lot of my initial songs just at my house with the help of Pocket Honore. So shout out to him too. But the Shop Studios in Richmond, California, they've been super helpful in, just making me feel super supported and recording and mixing a lot of my music. So shout out to my audio engineer, Sound God, at the Shop Studios in Richmond. Definitely highly recommended the studio for the best. Gotta say,
ain't nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it.
No, really, because it took my shit up to another level. I stepped my shit up from recording at the house to recording at a real studio, and just, and changed my whole confidence about it. So, that's definitely that's definitely someone I want to, run it back to as well. So
the growth is definitely there, definitely. Hey, and in closing,
thank you.
This is not really closing. This is just the beginning of a partnership that I feel like is going to grow and evolve, because I feel like you have a passion for what you want to do. I love what I do. Definitely. I've been doing it 16 years even before then, and I think it's important for us to be okay with the fact that, look, I'm going to lean on you. I'm going to hold you accountable. I want you to grow and be your best self, and I want to hold you to be that way, right? So I feel like we're going to put ourselves in a position where we can be able to see enough people in our circle to be able to not just grow, but to be able to benefit from resources that we could be able to share. You know what I mean? So it's just going to be something that's going to be smooth, where a lot of people are going to be like, yo, this has been the network all along. Like, we've been waiting for these moments to be able to click up and do bigger than life shit. So watch and it's going to unfold, and it's going to look beautiful. And I can't not just thank you enough, but I mean, you gave me an outside view into how I feel like it should be anyways. Like, I love the fact that you doing this shit for you and your flavor, because your flavor, like I mentioned earlier, don't think like somebody else. So I gotta give you props up top for that. And I just, you're gonna have the resources of this station, and you're gonna have the connects that's gonna be able to help grow as well. And it's all on some one love shit. It ain't on no pay for fucking play. You know it, and I can't thank you enough. What love?
And it's playing that T40 song. Yeah, what love? What love? What love? That's hella funny. Hey, if you know, you know.
Damn right. Jourdan Jade, can't thank you enough, baby. Here's to our future. It's going to be a great one. Keep pushing forward.
Hell yeah. Thank you. I appreciate you.
Hey.
Nexxlegacy.